باشمهندس تامر، حضرتك سامعني؟
أيوة. Yes.
Yes, we can start now.
Okay, just give me a second. I will be joined.
All right, take your time.
Okay. So hello everyone for joining us on the third day of the mentorship sessions. I would like to welcome all of you and thanks for joining us. So just to remind you of what we did on the last 2 days. We had yesterday the innovation and ideation session when we talked about how to generate new ideas and how to use a design thinking methodology and also how to do brainstorming and ideation. So today we are going to continue and we will talk about the problem solution fit and the product market fit, how to find those. We are also going to describe the elements of business or the business model canvas and talk about how to present your solution in a simple way. At the end, we will have the Q&A session as usual for all of you to ask any question if you have any. Okay, so let us continue talking about the customer development process. So usually, whenever you have an idea, you start by doing what we call the customer discovery. The customer discovery process is where first you search for a solution. And this is usually what you learned to do yesterday, the ideation phase. Finding solution is the entry point for any business to start. Usually you start with a problem, and it is not any problem. It is usually a problem that we call a problem worth solving. So which problem is worth solving? Actually, this is a good question. Problems worth solving are problems characterized by two main things. First thing is that a lot of customers, a lot of people are suffering from this problem. So you must have a mass. So a lot of people, it is not just a limited problem for maybe 10 or 15 people or you and your friends. No, this is not a problem worth solving. A problem worth solving must have a lot of customers. The number two, the problem worth solving must be very painful. That means people are willing to pay money for anyone to solve it. It is not nice to have issue. No, it is a painful problem. For example, it is the transportation or the traffic or the travel or the education or health. Anything that is really painful, that needs real attention and real ideation to solve, is a problem worth solving. So we start on customer discovery by finding the problem solution fit. Then we move to a proposed MVP or minimum viable product, and we will talk in details about the MVP idea actually. And we have the proposed funnel, or how we filter or reach to the customers. And then we do the next step, which is customer validation. In customer validation, we are searching for something called product market fit. So what is the difference between problem solution fit and product market fit? Problem solution fit means, for example, you have a problem with transportation. So you found out that if we have a mobile application to order the car or limousine or taxi, this is a solution. This is a problem solution. If you can use a mobile app to order a car, this is a problem solution fit. But this doesn't guarantee that you have a business yet, because maybe your market will not accept it. And by meaning the market here, it means that, okay, we all know that if we order something by mobile, the order can reach to the people and the people can respond. The process itself is implementable, applicable. If you remember on first day, we said that innovation is something we can implement. So we know this is achievable on the technical level, but that doesn't guarantee it is achievable on the business level, because maybe your pricing will be very high, or maybe the drivers don't use a smartphone, and that was a problem for Uber in some countries. They have to give mobile phones for some drivers actually. So the issue here is how fit is your product to the whole market. Actually, how fit is your business model to the whole market? And for customer validation, we create a business model. We go and do a sales marketing roadmap. And depending on the result of that, either we go forward or do complete the business because it is obviously good to do, or we do a pivoting. What is pivoting? Pivoting means we are changing what we call the one of the elements of the solution to move to our next business model or find another product market fit. Because maybe, for example, you had chosen the wrong customer segment, or maybe the solution needs some changes, or maybe the channel that you used is not fit for this customer. So there are a lot of things that can be changed, and pivoting here means a pivot is something that is always turning around. So a pivot means we were going one direction and then we change the direction and go another direction. So either we pivot or we preserve, we complete the process. So the first two big steps, discovery, customer discovery, and customer validation, are actually where most of the discovery is done. This is done at very early stage of your company. But when you master that, you move to what we call customer creation and then company building. The two other big things are the rest of your company life, actually. But the first two are what happens maybe in the first 3 to 6 months of your company. But it is necessary and a must process, actually. So we can move from customer discovery to customer validation, and we can do pivoting and roll many times in this circle. At the end of this circle, when we have a perfect product market fit, we move to customer creation, then scaling up and company building. Doing more organization scaling, you hire more people, you increase the number of employees in your company, and your sales operation is magnified as well. Okay, so this product market fit is usually summarized in this circle, what we call the build, measure, learn. And this is the core of the lean startup methodology. And this is how you usually build a business. So you start with the hypothesis, with what we call a leap of faith assumption. So you have some assumptions about the business, and you think that if I do this or I do that, I can grow a business. This is only hypothesis. There is no guarantee that what you thought is the right answer. So, for example, maybe you gave a hypothesis that farmers in your country or in a certain area are in need for a website of information to give them information about the weather and the hazards to their crops. This is hypothesis. How can we validate it? Actually, you have to deal with any hypothesis as if they need validation, because your belief is not the truth. It is just hypothesis. In order for hypothesis to become reality, you build something, and this something is called the MVP. MVP stands for minimum viable product, or the least achievable product that you can build with very simple form, with very few specifications, very few features, nothing big, only the minimum, and give it to the customers. Ask them to try it. This is where we do the measure. The measure is actually getting out of the building. And this is a very important part of the process, because a lot of people think that startups are created in offices. No, They are actually created in the street. Don't expect any business or any startup to start in just if you are doing everything in the office. You must go to the street, go to the customers, meet with them, talk with them, convince them to use your MVP and get their feedback. And by this time, your hypothesis become reality or not. So maybe your hypotheses were correct. So at this stage, you will find out that the data you gather give you a learning milestone, and you learn from the data. For example, how do you know if your mobile application is valid or people are using it? How do you know that? So a lot of people come to me on daily basis and say, we had 50,000 downloads. We have 100,000 downloads. Does it really matter? My reply will be, I don't care. I don't care how many people did download your application, because maybe they downloaded it and they never used it. It is there sitting as a duck. So please give me the number of active users. We need the number of active users. This is the number which is really significant, because it gives you information who is really using your system or who is really doing the application and can later on turn into a customer and then pay you, and then the cycle goes on. So by the end of the learning phase, you either pivot or preserve. Pivot means you change something. Either you change the customer segment, or you change the channel, or you change the relationship, or you change the cost model, or you change your revenue model. Anything can be changed during the pivoting. Then you reach to a stage where everything is perfect. You mastered the segment, you mastered the channel, you mastered the relationship, you mastered the cost, you mastered the revenue. At this stage, we preserve and we go forward to the next stage, which is the growth and building the organization and increasing the number of customers. And by the way, this is like the most agreed on process to build startups right now. We don't go and build the full thing for like in 1 year and then come to the customers and say, hey, you know what, please buy my product. No, this will never happen. But it is an ongoing circle like that. Your ability to go through this circle as fast as possible is your best way to do a business. So build, measure, learn. I would like all of you to memorize actually, or remember always this circle, because it is the core of the lean startup, which is the agreed on methodology to build startups nowadays. Okay? Any questions? Okay. So what is the MVP? What is the minimum viable product? It is that version of your product which allow you to collect maximum amount of validated learning. So for example, if you are building a electric car, what kind of features will you include in your first version? Let me remind you of how Tesla actually started building electric cars. So first thing they needed a car, like the body of the car. Do they need to build the body of the car from scratch, from the beginning? Actually, no. They don't, because they are going to change it anyway. So what they did is that they went to Lotus, which is another car manufacturer, and they bought a body, a car body, a sport car body, because you needed to build a sport car. And that was the beginning of the Roadster, the Tesla Roadster car. It was actually a gas powered car, a gas powered car body actually, which they changed it. They removed the oil engine, and they had put an electric engine. So they didn't start from scratch. They didn't need to. This is the idea of the MVP. You build it from existing component, from something you already have. So for example, nowadays, when someone wants to build a website, we don't tell them go and start or learn how to do HTML and everything from scratch. There is something called WordPress. It can give you 95% of the features that you need. So start with that, because you are not testing how good you are in developing website. You are testing how good you are in attracting a business to your website. Will the customers accept it? Will the customers take it? This is the main process. So the MVP puts your hypothesis to testing and validation. So our objective is actually to build what we call a business model. And the business model is different from a business plan. The business model is actually how your organization deliver value. And the business model is something dynamic. It changes with time. You will have multiple versions of your business model, and this will change all the time. You keep changing and changing because you are trying. So actually, the business model is the main product of any company. If I ask you what your company do, you should answer it is doing this business model, because all companies in the world have the same product, and this product is their business model. So how does business model look like? So business model looks like this. This is actually a graphical presentation of the business model called the business model canvas. As you can see, there are 9 elements on this canvas, 9 elements of the business model. The one on the right, this is everything outside the company. While on the left side, it is everything inside the company. And I'll show you how. So first component is customers. In that case, no customers, no business. You define who are your customers. If you remember yesterday, we talked about segmentation, how we segment customers, and how we decide which segment, what age group, what gender, what kind of lifestyle do they have. The persona, we talked about that yesterday. We also talked about pain and gain yesterday, if you remember, when we were talking about the empathy map and the value proposition canvas. So in that block, customer segment, you decide who are the customers, what are their pains or problem, what problems they need solution for, and what are their characteristics. What characterize those customers? Where do they go? What do they read? What do they see? What do they hear? For example, if you are selling something to car drivers, it will be very good to understand their lifestyle. And you know that car drivers usually are listening to the radio or some station on their mobile while you're driving. So this will decide a good relationship to have with them, which is radio ads, for example. You see, your customer segments will imply a lot of things on the rest of the business model. The second component is what we call the value proposition. A value proposition is what you really do as a business and who you do it for and how you do it differently. You know, value proposition should be unique. It is you must do it much more better than your competitors in order to get a business. Imagine that if you are making, for example, if you are a shop that is selling car parts, anyone can sell car parts. What differentiates you? If you are doing mobile application for mapping, for knowing places on the map, like Google Maps, if I decide today to do a Google Map or like application, then my first question should be, how will I be different from Google Maps actually? Or from Apple Maps, or from OpenStreetMaps? Because there are a lot of good companies there doing maps. How do I differentiate? So the story of the business model starts usually by the customer that you need to provide with a value. So the number two is a value proposition. Then you must have a distribution channel, the car in this graph, where how company communicates and reaches customer. So let me ask you a question. For example, if we look at Spinneys or Carrefour, what is their channel? How do people reach them? How people deal with Carrefour or Spinneys? What is the channel? Any thoughts? How do you get something from Carrefour? Physical store, thank you, AS, physical store and online delivery. Excellent. So they have two channels for you to order. Either you go to the store yourself and pick your things and go to the cashier, pay for it and leave, or you order it online, so someone will collect it for you, will form the order for you or collect the items for you, collect it and send it to you, and you pay when they arrive. So those are two channels. So the channel here is the distribution channel, how you get the product or how you get the service, how you receive as a customer. You know, this is why it is an arrow going from the value proposition to the customer segment, because the channel is how we deliver value to our customers. And now be careful, because you get easily mixed up with the next item, which is customer relationship. A lot of people mix the two. Customer relationship is how do you acquire your customers? How do they know about you? So let us get back to Carrefour and Spinneys example. What is their customer relationship? How do you know about them? Ads, okay. Marketing, online ads, street ads, brands, logos, and thank you, yes. Sarah, products, WhatsApp, okay. So Sarah, by saying products, what do you mean by products? They want to tell you about their products. Oh, Ahmed, no. Relationship is different from going to the physical store is a channel, but it is not a customer relationship. You have a customer relationship with Carrefour by ads, online ads, YouTube videos, TV ads, or maybe a mobile application ad. So relationship means ads, advertising, marketing. Sarah is saying yes. Okay, so I now understand. Products means that you attract them by putting some specific products which are not sold somewhere else. Yeah, that's true. But you have to advertise that. You must tell the people that you will find it only in Carrefour or you will find it only on Spirits. So actually, customer relationship is everything related to marketing, while the channel is everything related to the real delivery of the product or service. So please don't mix between customer relationship and the channel. So now we move to the last block in the right, on the right half. So if you notice now, the right half have 5 blocks: the customers, the value proposition, the channel, the relationship, and finally, the revenue stream, how we make money, how people buy from us, and how do they prefer to pay. For example, if they buy online from Carrefour, they may pay by credit card or it's a cash on delivery. Either of them can work. So this is how they prefer to pay. And another important component in the revenue stream is answering the question, are your customers really willing to pay? Because I had seen a lot of business where people start by giving a free service. And guess what? They never move out of free. People get used to getting the service for free. So when they ask them to pay for it, they stop. They stop the service. That case means you are not a real value for them, because if you are a real value, they will pay for it. So, and if they don't pay for it, that means you cannot build a business on top of that. So let us take an example. You know, every company of those, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, have a business model. Okay, a question. Some businesses also fail due to modern delivery. For example, some businesses don't provide card payment, only cash on delivery and etc. Absolutely right. In cash societies, like what we have, for example, here in Egypt, by the way, we are a cash society. We don't rely a lot on credit cards. If you enforce people to use credit card, you will fail. Because even those who have a credit card, they don't prefer not to put it online. So no one will pay you. You must rely on cash on delivery. So let us look at the business model of Uber. Now, Uber, what customer segments do Uber have? Actually, they have 2 customer segments, not 1, 2. Because they consider passengers as customers and also drivers are customers. Remember that Uber is a marketplace. Uber is a marketplace. So drivers are customers and passengers are also customers. So what is the value? So if you have a marketplace where there are 2 segments of customers, then you have 2 segments of value proposition. Here, the purple one relates to passenger and the green one relates to driver. So for the passenger, one value is taxi on demand. You know, this is a great value. What used to happen before Uber? People just go to the street and wave to the taxi or order it by phone. So now they had a new service, which is ordering taxi in their home. It is cash free because Uber can make you pay by credit card, and it is easy to order and short wait time. So usually Uber car will reach you like 5 to 10 minutes. Kareem is the same. So for the driver, it is what we call passenger on demand. Why this is important for the driver? Why being a passenger on demand is important? What do we mean by passenger on demand? Think about the life of taxi drive before there was Uber. If I am a taxi driver and I need to get passenger, what was my only option by this time? I only have to go around in the streets. I have no other option. I have to go around and wait for someone to wave for me. But with passenger on demands, any Uber or Kareem driver will just drive the customer to the destination, and then he stands, he's still. He is waiting, parking, till the next order reach him where he is. And then he moves to the next customer. That saves him a lot of money because now they don't need to go around in the streets aimless. Another value for the driver is easy to make additional money. Think a lot of drivers in Uber and Kareem are not working as a full-time driver. They just drive for 1 or 2 hours per day in order to have some income, additional income. Or maybe they are employees and they take people when they are leaving to work or coming back from work to home. Just someone is in their way, they will drive. Sarah is asking, are all Uber and the Kareem services trustworthy, especially when it comes to card payment? Well, from time to time, you may have some issues with the credit card, of course. That is why in Egypt, for example, we still have the option to pay in cash. But some countries, you must pay online. You must pay using your credit card. So it depends. In cash society, there must be a cash on the spot. But if it is a cashless society, then we can do that. So what are the channels on Uber? The main channel in Uber is actually the mobile app. This is how you communicate with Uber. Also social media marketing and PR. For customer relationship, you have social media marketing and PR mainly. And why we put social media marketing in post? Because actually when Uber started operational, there was a way to order Uber through Google Maps. So you can order Uber through Google Maps, and that is why social media was actually part of the channels that you are getting to have Uber. Finally, the revenue stream is the pay-per ride, the premium Uber brands also. People, you can pay for Uber as a business. And surge pricing. Surge pricing is when you are in an area where there is not a lot of cars. This is how Uber deal with the shortage of cars in rush hours. So, for example, on downtown Dubai at 4 or 5 p.m., usually it is very difficult to find an Uber. So what does Uber do to accommodate that, to avail cars? They increase the rate by maybe 30% or 40%, sometimes even double. So you get the surge, which is 1.2 or 1.4x. That means you get 40%. If you get 1.4x, so if your ride is costing 10 dirham, you actually, as a driver, get 14, an extra 4. By doing that, Uber brings the cars into service in places where there is a shortage or rare use of cars. Okay? So all the business model, the right business model of Uber is clear now? Okay. So we move to the left side. The left side is everything inside the company. If you notice the customers, the relationship, the revenue, all of that was happening actually outside the company, the boundary of the company itself. But the key resources are the most important assets. For example, for Uber, the server is a key resource. The mobile app is a key resource. Any routing algorithm is a key resource. But office boys are not a key resource for them. Or computers is not a key resource for them because they are very easy to replace. So a key resource is something that we cannot replace easily. It could be financial, physical, intellectual, or human resource. So key activities are the activities done by key resources, actually. And we have here usually the question of in-house or outsourcing. When do you do outsourcing and when do you do in-house? This is a question for you guys. In-house means you do everything by yourself as a company. You hire internal people to do it. While outsourcing means you hire someone in another company to do it for you as a company. So the decision is usually when do you do outsourcing and when do you do in-house? When do you think? What criteria? Okay. Depending on raw material availability, technology, and cost of mass production, for example. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Sarah is asking me to clarify. Okay, let me give you an example. This will show you when do you do in-house or outsourcing. Do you know Nike, the producer of the sport wear clothes and tools? What kind of activities do you think Nike is doing as outsourced or they are doing in-house? So let me, for example, marketing, is it done in-house or outsourced? Marketing. Okay, Sarah, yes, outsourced. You are correct. Marketing is outsourced. While, so let us talk about finance. Is it outsourced or in-house? How do they do finance? Okay, Ahmed, you started to get it right. Things that need to be kept as a secret should be done in-house. That is true. So, yes, Sarah, actually, finance is also outsourced. You know, I'll give you a clear shot. Nike is outsourcing everything except for one thing they kept in-house. Do you know what do they kept in-house? Excellent, AS, right. Designs. Oh, guys, you are great. All of you got it. Not salaries, Dorar. Salaries are outsourced as well because it is not really a secret. Who cares who gets how much in Nike? And of course, they can sign an non-disclosure agreement so the company doing the salaries for them will not announce the salaries for everyone. But the real thing that Nike should keep in-house, and they never outsourced it, was designing. So Nike as a company is actually like the core people working for Nike is like 300, 200 of them are designers. The rest are the people in different departments managing the outsourced, because even if you outsource salaries or finance or marketing or manufacturing, you need someone to take care of it on your behalf. So they outsourced everything except for designs because this is their core. This is what they should keep inside. So you got that correct. Now, another component or block of the business model is the key partnership. Who are your key partners? Who are your key suppliers? Which key resources are we acquiring from partners, and which key activities do partners perform? So you usually need partners because you have a lot of activities that you cannot do completely by yourself. You need someone to help you, especially in the beginning. Yeah, so someone who will support you financially. We don't have any right now. We need to make sure we have the best team possible. Okay, yeah. So, for example, you would like to do a marketing. Your product is something used by youth. So you search in the market for someone else who is doing a product for youth, but not exactly your product. Let me give you an example. Why do you think for sometimes you find mobile operators do partnership with soft drink companies like Pepsi or Coca-Cola? So you find that Vodafone or Etisalat or Do are doing a campaign with Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Why? Because actually, both companies, Pepsi and Etisalat, have the same customer segment. Yes. And they would like to go to the same segment together. It is cheaper for them to advertise as a whole instead of each one of them doing his own marketing campaign. So this is an example of getting partnership. And finally, on the left half, we have the cost structure. Cost structure are expenses. What do you need to spend on the business to start? Of course, you see that key activities, key resources, and the cost are very related, because any key activity will need a key resource to do and will need a cost to have it. Okay? I usually like to put the business model in the following story. Okay? It is actually, we need to deliver, we have a customers, we need to deliver value for them through a channel and have relationship so that we can get revenue. We get that by doing key activities done by key resources with the help of key partners that have a cost. You see, it's a story. This is the business model in a nutshell. Again, so we have customers and we need to deliver value proposition for them through a channel, and we have a relationship so that we can get revenue by doing key activities done by key resources with the help of key partners, and that costs us money. So this full sentence is the whole story of your business model. Now let us see the left canvas, the left-hand side canvas for Uber. Again, we had seen the right, so now we see the left. So what are the key activities in Uber? It is a platform, it is marketing, driver onboarding. You see key activities. So if you have platform development, that means you have Uber platform as a key resource. One of the key activities is marketing. So we have here pricing algorithm. Driver onboarding is, of course, we have routing that supports the drivers. Okay, so you see, key activities are always very related to key resources. Sarah is asking, will this help you in operation management? Yes, of course, Sarah. All operations are about key activities and key resources and how you cost them. So those three components are major in operations. So cost structure is the platform. Again, if you have a platform as a key activity, then the cost has a platform development. If you have marketing as a key activity, then in your cost there is sales. If you have drivers onboarding, then there are salaries in your cost and driver payments. Of course, the key partners in this case are the drivers. They consider the drivers as partners. Payment processor like Visa, MasterCard, mapping data providers. You know that Uber is actually using Google Maps. And the local authority, it is like the ATRA in Dubai. You know, the organization responsible for the transportation. Okay, RTA is a local authority responsible to give Uber a license to operate in a certain country. Okay, all clear? So now you understand the business model, how it works. So my advice to you now is whenever you got the idea, what you will be working on, fill in the business model and do it in this order. So start with the customer segment, then value proposition, channel, relationship, revenue, key resources, key activities, costs, key partners, and finally the cost structure. Okay, so let us move to the last part of our day, which is the business pitching. How do you pitch a business? How do you talk to people about your pitching? There are certain components that you must include. Prepare and rehearse. This is number one. Good pitching means you rehearse a lot. Know your audience, understand who you will pitch for, be confident, stick to the time, always stick to the time. So usually you get like 5-6 minutes a maximum. Be clear, very clear. Always your words should be clear. Don't repeat. Keep it short and simple. Don't use a lot of text. Use graphics and images, and watch for your body language. Have a good standing. Always face your audience. Look at them and the eye. Maintain a good eye contact so that you have a good presentation. Introduce yourself and your company at the beginning, usually. What is the problem? Those are the components you put. What is the problem? Why it is important? Whom it affects? What is the solution and the value proposition? Talk about the market. How big is the market? Competition and competitive advantage. Who are your competitors? And how do you win them, or how do you do it better than them? How do you make money? Your revenue streams. Your team. Who are the team? Show their capabilities. We have those people and they have this experience and they did this and they did that, so that people can trust your team, because usually investors invest in teams. They don't invest in ideas, by the way. You don't win because you have a good idea only, but you win mainly because you have a good team. So show your team very well. At last, those are the references and resources I use all the time. So again, they are still the same. Now I'm open for questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead. By the way, starting tomorrow, you will be doing the talk. I will be listening. So tomorrow, I expect you to come with what is the problem that you are trying to solve, what solutions are you proposing, and if you have a business model, that will be excellent, so that we can discuss it together. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Excellent. That is good. Thank you. Thank you all. Looking forward to talk to you tomorrow. Just be ready. The hackathon is around the corner. And you should be thinking a lot now about what you will be presenting on the hackathon. So we are looking forward to meet you and discuss with you your great idea. I believe you are a great team, really. I'm finding you fantastic through these sessions. You did really, really good. I'm proud of all of you and looking forward to hear from you. Be ready tomorrow to present me your idea, your problem, your solution, and how you are going to give value and what is your business model. Thank you all. Looking forward for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tamer, for the very inspiring session. Dear attendees, thank you all for your time and see you tomorrow at tomorrow's session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.